Good afternoon, everyone. This is Justin Howell coming to you from the IRC office here in Atlanta, Georgia. Acknowledging it's been some time since you've heard from us, and just wanted to basically come and give you all a short update. As many of you know, it is the first day of March, and we are now 6 months into the Afghan evacuation response that has really been impacting the office here in Atlanta as well as communities across this country. Since September of last year until March 1st of this year, the IRC office here in Atlanta has welcomed 799 individuals. That is 238 families that we have welcomed. And we really couldn't have done this work without the dedication, the assistance of our community partners, volunteers, donors, as well as just a wonderful professional staff that make up the IRC here in Atlanta. Most of the safe havens are now done with their resettlement efforts. We, as a country, have welcomed over 70,000 Afghans into various communities across this country. And so, while we acknowledge that phase of the response may be over, we also acknowledge that we are here to work with our new neighbors for the long term. And so there are still some ongoing challenges that we're working to address with, again, the support of the community. The biggest challenge is, as many of you know, has been short-term housing. Our need to rely on short-term housing in order to welcome families. I am really happy to report that over 70% of the families we've welcomed since September have already transitioned from short-term housing into permanent housing. But it does mean we do have a little bit ways to go now to continue to secure those permanent housing for the last families that we've welcomed. It has also come with an economic impact as well. Short-term housing has cost us as an organization about $1 million to be able to cover those short-term housing costs. Luckily, over the last 6 months, the community has stepped up and helped us raise over $1.3 million in response to this evacuation. So, us setting that ambitious goal of $1.7 million back in August, as we knew this response would be needed, has been really helped us to be able to meet the demands, not only on the housing front, but also being able to hire staff that we needed from the local Afghan community here and others to be able to serve the community. So we've added well over 45 new staff members to our team here in Atlanta, which is really great both for the immediate response, but also for the long-term work that we know is going to go into this next phase of the response. So I really want to thank all of you who've donated and provided support and your hours of sweat equity and volunteerism to help us do the work. So looking forward a little bit, just want to remind people that while we have welcomed, like I said, one person shy of 800 people through the Afghan evacuation response, we still welcomed over 100 people through the R&P program during the same period. These are folks who have coming from other areas of conflict around the world who we continue to stand in solidarity with and support as they try to reclaim and rebuild their lives after being targets of violence or war and oppression. And so the R&P program, resettlement and placement program, will continue to now pick up the pace, if you will. And we know that for March alone, we're preparing to welcome 52 individuals, which is about 20 families over the next 3 weeks. And so while we have seen a reduction in the number of arrivals, welcoming new community members from around the world continues. Those are folks from Somalia and Syria and the Congo, many people who've been waiting for many years, 4, 5, 6 years to be reunited with loved ones because of the policies of the previous administration. So we look forward to welcome those folks as we continue to work with our Afghan neighbors. And so really moving forward, it's really working with moving those last families on to permanent housing, as I mentioned earlier. It's working to make sure people are now moving into jobs. They can start finding some stability. They can start building their future and start thinking about what they want to do next, right? What careers they want to have, how they want to, see their life unfold, and how we can walk through them. If that's helping them start new businesses, if that's helping them find educational pathways to achieve either what professions they may have had back in Afghanistan before coming here. All these type programs here to help support the community as we move forward. And, I know what's on everyone's mind right now are the very unfortunate events that we see in Ukraine. And, what I can say right now to community members that, our hearts and our thoughts and our prayers go out to our sisters and brothers in Ukraine. We hope that there will be an immediate resolution to that will stop all the fighting and all the war, because as we know, there's so many innocent people who are the victims when these kind of world events transpire. And so while we hope that is the case, we have not yet seen Ukrainian arrivals right now from the current conflict. But just as we have been in this community for 40 years, providing welcome and a safe place for people to start to rebuild their lives, should we be called on to welcome Ukrainian nationals here into the U.S., here into Georgia, here into Atlanta, we as the IRC office in Atlanta stand ready to do so. So while we hope that situation will resolve itself quickly, we are ready to do what we need to if we're called upon in order to help that situation and help those people seeking safety for themselves and their loved ones. So with that, I will wrap up this update. Hopefully, we'll be coming to you in the next few months with more updates on how things are going. I just want to remind everybody the best way to keep up with us is at IRC Atlanta on our social media handles, Facebook, Instagram. And again, as I mentioned many times, we cannot do this work without volunteers and donors that help make this work possible. If you're interested in donating, I really want to encourage you to go to rescue.org/giveatlanta. And you can make a donation that will go straight here to the Atlanta office, and your funds will stay here in the local community that we call home. So thank you so much for your interest. Thank you for your support of the work, and I look forward to speaking with you again in the near future.